There is a comic book. As long as one puts on these glasses, the zombies from the comic appear in reality. Not only that, one also sees George A. Romero, the father of zombies. The story takes place in a bookstore in Pittsburgh. Because of the advent of e-books and smartphones, the bookstore Sarah operates does not perform well. Seeing that it is about to close, the fat landlord makes things worse. He not only mocks Sarah's bookstore as outdated but also demands a rent increase. Otherwise he evicts them next month. Having no other choice, Sarah has to cut expenses, laying off Dawn, the only female employee in the store. However, her son Martin opposes this action, because not long ago, the two of them started dating. Seeing his mother's hesitant expression, the sensible Martin still chooses family over love, so he plans to talk to Dawn himself. At this moment, Dawn is tidying up the warehouse. Seeing her diligent and serious demeanor, Martin finds it difficult to speak. Just then, the box in Dawn's hand suddenly falls to the ground. Small letters on it read, Image 10 Studio. The two immediately open it. Martin discovers several comics inside. As a loyal fan of George A. Romero and a seasoned zombie enthusiast, he immediately recognizes that these comics are by the other person. This Image 10 is precisely his famous work. But these things have never appeared on the market. If they release them now, perhaps they can revitalize their bookstore. If the bookstore business gets better, Dawn naturally does not have to leave. It is also at this moment that Dawn surprisingly discovers a pair of 3D glasses tucked into the last page of the comic. Martin takes the glasses and curiously puts them on. Unexpectedly, the zombie on the comic cover actually moves. Martin is naturally startled and quickly takes the glasses off. He cannot believe that the other party actually comes alive. Such a realistic image is worthy of being from the father of zombies, George A. Romero. Martin wants to take the glasses to find his mother, Sarah. Little does he know, this action will trigger a disaster. Dawn, who stays behind to organize the comics, suddenly hears a strange noise. She suddenly turns her head but sees nothing. Dawn thinks she misheard, so she does not pay attention to it. She turns to continue organizing the comics, unaware that the door behind her slowly opens. At this moment, Martin hands the comic to Sarah. But Sarah is not a zombie fan, so she does not recognize its value. She only considers it an ordinary comic book. Just as Martin takes out his 3D glasses, wanting Sarah to observe closely, a veteran comes into the bookstore to buy a book. With no other option, he can only attend to the customer first. Martin leads the veteran to the horror bookshelf and plans to go back to tinker with the comic book. Suddenly, the veteran's scream comes from behind him. He walks over to look and sees a horrifying scene. The veteran floats in midair, and his carotid artery suddenly fatally ruptures. Martin feels he sees this posture somewhere before. He looks down, and it is exactly like the comic book cover in his hand. He quickly puts on his 3D glasses, only then discovering a zombie holding and violently consuming him. But after taking off the glasses, the entity immediately vanishes from his sight. Clearly, only these glasses can see the zombies. Martin retreats in fright and bumps into his mother, who rushes over upon hearing the commotion. By this time, the veteran is already severely disfigured from being violently consumed. Martin does not know how to explain it to his mother, as the zombie has already vanished. Sarah looks terrified and does not know what to do. Martin tries to call for help. Suddenly, he sees the zombie again through the 3D glasses. The zombie is about to pounce on them. Martin quickly pulls his mother into the storage room. He jams the door shut with a mop. Sarah, who cannot see the zombie, is bewildered and thinks Martin is playing a prank because he does not want to fire Dawn. She orders him to open the door immediately. Martin quickly explains, the zombie from the comic book has escaped. If they let it in, their fate will be the same as the veterans. Faced with such nonsense, Sarah naturally refuses to believe him. Suddenly, the banging on the door stops. Worried about Dawn's safety, Martin immediately calls her. He learns she is currently in her office and tells her to lock all doors and windows and not to go out. However, Dawn also refuses to believe Martin's explanation. Before their call ends, the office blinds suddenly fall, and something outside begins to smash against the glass. Clearly, the zombie has found Don. A scream is heard. Martin realizes something is wrong and wants to go save the person. He finds that the storeroom door cannot be opened. Not knowing what to do, Martin then thinks of the comic book. Perhaps there is a way inside to deal with the zombies. He flips to the end and sees a portrait of George Romero on the last page. As if realizing something, Martin quickly puts on the 3D glasses. As the lights in the room flicker, the 3D version of zombie father George Romero appears before Martin's eyes. Looking at the surrounding environment, Romero recognizes that this is his studio from when he was alive. Martin is very excited as this is his first time meeting his idol. But in the eyes of Sarah, who is not wearing glasses, Martin seems like a mental patient talking to the air. Seeing this, Martin quickly puts the glasses on his mother. Looking at the magical scene before her, Sarah finally believes what her son says. After the surprise, she finally remembers the important matter. He tells Romero about the zombies and asks him to save his girlfriend Dawn. But just like in the movie, to kill zombies, one must only attack their heads. At this moment, the phone rings, and it is Dawn calling. By now, the zombies have already rushed into the house and are attacking her. Something is smashing around. Love makes their hearts race extremely fast. Martin suddenly opens the door. He rushes to the office with his mother. When they arrive, they just see a zombie's head decisively neutralized by a rotating fan. The startled Dawn does not know what happened. It is not until Martin gives her the glasses that she sees the fallen zombie's body. As Martin deals with the zombie's body, he suddenly realizes that the recently bitten veteran has disappeared. Only a trail of bloody footprints remains on the ground. Martin then remembers that those bitten by zombies also transform. Realizing this, he quickly puts on the glasses. Indeed, he sees the zombie that has become the veteran. But Dawn, who is not wearing glasses, also sees him. That is also reasonable. After all, the veteran's physical body truly exists. The zombie wanders around and surprisingly finds the comic book on the counter. Inside, there is also a pair of 3D glasses. Unexpectedly, this time the zombie instinctively puts on the glasses. More zombies are summoned from the comic book. The situation becomes somewhat out of control. The three quickly block the door. It looks like the zombies are about to break through the door. Martin pleads with Romero to think of a solution. After all, he drew the comic himself. Romero also tells the story of this comic. It turns out that before the comic was finished, he had already negotiated the price with the publisher. But the black-hearted businessman who made the 3D glasses, after knowing that the comic would become popular, wanted to temporarily raise the price. But this decision did not receive Romero's and the publisher's agreement. The glasses businessman becomes somewhat furious. In his anger, he calls upon his wizard uncle to cast a curse on all 3D glasses. At that time, they thought he was bluffing. Unexpectedly, it now seems to be true. Before his words even fall, the wooden door is broken open. A large number of zombies swarm in. In the chaos, Sarah is entangled by zombies. Dawn is also tackled to the ground by veteran. At a critical moment, a fire extinguisher flies up. Romero smashes wildly at the zombies' heads. Only then does he save Dawn. At this moment, Romero also thinks of a solution. Since these zombies all come out of the comic, then he just needs to write another plot segment to erase all these zombies. He wonders if this can all end. He decides to give it a try. And the man immediately starts acting. But at this moment, the computer runs out of power and shuts down. Martin hurriedly tries to find paper and a pen. But time is too pressing. And Dawn and Sarah are already under attack by zombies. The man knows he cannot wait any longer. So he drastically sacrifices an arm and writes a sentence on his body. He writes that if they destroy the 3D glasses, the zombies in the comic will disappear. Without any hesitation, Martin tears up the 3D glasses. The zombies that tackle Dawn also disappear. And the man, the father of zombies, after seeing his comic has an ending, also leaves contentedly. Although the zombies disappear, the hateful landlord comes again. Seeing this place messed up, he immediately curses angrily. Unexpectedly, at this moment, Sarah, who has already turned into a zombie, suddenly pounces. She bites the landlord's arm. After all, the man's ending only states that the zombies in the comic disappear. The mutated Sarah in reality still exists. It seems another zombie crisis is coming. Actually, movie fans can probably tell. This film pays tribute to George A. Romero, the father of zombie films. His Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Living Dead, and Day of the Dead are all unsurpassed by later zombie films. The old man passes away in his sleep in 2017. But subsequent zombie films more or less paid tribute to his classic films. He is truly worthy of the title Father of Zombies.